The Danish Deception Part 3. Okay, so I'm walking out of baggage claim. I have my bags. And at this point, worst case scenarios are playing in my head. I'm like, what if this whole thing is just gonna be so awkward and we're not gonna have that connection like I think we have? But I also told myself, you're gonna have to figure it out and let's just do this. So I walk out of baggage claim and I'm scanning the scene and I see him. And everything in me feels peace and joy. And I just make a beeline to him. Like, it's one of those, like, I'm walking, but like low-key I'm running. And I finally get to him. He hugs me, but like he picks me off the ground and he's hugging me and I'm hugging him back. And then he puts me down. He looks at me. He goes, "Hi, Bambi." And that was the nickname he used to call me. And I was like, "Hi." And we just proceed to make out in the Nice airport for 2 straight minutes. And I am not the type of person to ever do that, but I just felt so much attraction towards him and I just did not care. And I remember that we were in the taxi going to the hotel and we had to put ourselves at like an arm's length because we were just like going at it, like kissing. And I was like, this taxi driver is gonna start feeling super uncomfortable. So we're like, we need to stop. And so we get to the hotel, we check in, we get to the hotel room, and let's just say we had a wonderful time, multiple times. Mom and Dad, I am so sorry for that part. We ended up going to dinner afterwards, and I just remember sitting here and I was like, I feel like this is my dream come true being here with you. And he said, I feel like this is my dream come true. Like, I'm so grateful to be here. Like, you're like my dream girl, and you were even better than I remembered if that was even possible. And it just felt like everything was aligning perfectly. And so the next day we had a car rental. So we went to Monaco, and that's where his work event was. And I remember he told me, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring you to all of the events. And I told him, you know what? I'm going to be in Monaco. So if you can't take me to things, that's fine. I'll just go explore the city. And I remember we get there and he had like a kickoff event, like first things first when we arrived. And so I wasn't invited. I also didn't really want to go. So he went to that and I was just like exploring Monaco. And he sends me a message. He said, "Hey, you're going to be able to come to the event tonight. Do you have something to wear?" And I remember being like, I didn't bring anything like for like a professional cocktail party. And he was like, "Oh, well, we're in Monaco. So you wear whatever." And I said, "Okay." So I remember I put on this green romper and we went to this hotel. And I remember being super nervous because I'm used to like networking, but not with like Norwegians and like a bunch of people that aren't like fluent in English, which actually people in Norway, they all are fluent in English. I was very impressed. But I just started talking to different agents because these were all real estate agents, and I'm a realtor. So I felt like I could connect with them so well. And I remember I was talking to this man, me and my ex were talking to this man, and he was like so interested by me. And he said, "Are you coming to the boat party tomorrow?" And I knew there was a boat party coming up the next day, but I also just like assumed I wouldn't be able to go. And I said, well, I looked at my ex, I go, I don't know, like, am I? And my ex looks at me, he goes, "Well, you're talking to the CEO, so I think that's fine." I said, "Oh." The CEO was like, "Yeah, I'd love for you to come." And he was just so nice. And I met so many great people, and also just watching him in his element working, and he's just so charming and charismatic. And everyone, when people talk to him, they're just so fascinated by him, like I was. And so we had a great night, and then the next day was a boat party. And I remember I was just hanging out on the boat, again, just watching him go talk to all these big customers. And I didn't understand a word he was saying, but I just felt like he just looked like he was super smart. And later on that night, I remember they had another event, and I wasn't invited to that event, which is fine, but I came and met up with him afterwards, and we got drinks. And the next day, we decided to head to Saint-Tropez. And I remember we get to the hotel in Saint-Tropez. This hotel is so nice. I've stayed in 5-star hotels before, but like I've never stayed in like 5-star hotels that are like a full suite with like private pool. And I like looked up the room and it was like 1,500 to like 2,000 euros a night. And I'm like absolutely not used to this. And I remember telling him that because I'm not the type of person to like walk into something like this and be like, "Oh yeah, like I'm used to this stuff. I'm not gonna be fake." So I told him like, I am not used to staying in hotels like this, or like especially specifically suites like this. And he was like, "Well, you know, while we're together, I want you to know, like, I want to give you the world." And I was like, thank you so much. Like, I feel so grateful. And I remember telling him that in that moment. And Later on that night, we go to L'Opera and we're having a wonderful time, drinking great wine, having good food. And if you've been to L'Opera in Saint-Tropez, it's very much a party restaurant. Like, you have dancers on the tables. It's like, it's a party scene, but like, you know, that's also like kind of like my vibe when I'm like, you know, have a couple of drinks in me. And we're sitting at dinner and he's talking to me about his mom and talking about how he's so protective over her and how much he loves her and how he like would do anything for her. And I remember just like looking at him and just being like, this is like everything I want in a man. If a man is going to treat his family with respect, the chances of him treating your family with respect are so much higher. And I just felt like I saw his heart, and it just made me just fall for him even more than I had already. And I guess my thoughts had translated to my face because he picked up on some expression and he was like, what is it? And I was like, nothing. He said, tell me. I go, nothing. And then he grabs my face and he pulls it close to him. He goes, tell me. And I say, I'm in love with you. And then I started bawling my eyes out at L'Opera in Saint-Tropez. And this was a sweet moment, but it was also very uncomfortable and embarrassing because all the workers are all thinking that I'm getting dumped right now when I'm really just falling in love for the first time and like don't know how to control my emotions. And I remember just like bawling my eyes out and being like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what this feeling is. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, and he's just sitting there smiling and he's like, this is like one of the best nights of my life. And he looked at me and he goes, I want to say it back to you, but I also want to have my own special moment, so I'm not going to do it right now. And I said, thank you, God, because I would not want you to tell me right now. And honestly, never in a million years did I think that I would say I love you first to him, but he pulled it out of me and I felt it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to say it. And I did. And it felt so good. And I remember we went back to the hotel that night, got some sleep. And the next morning we went to Bagatelle and we had just like a beach day. And I used to tell everyone that this was the best day of my life because we spent the whole day just swimming and laughing and eating and having such a great time. And I just thought to myself, like, I could do this forever. And like, I also thought to myself, like, I don't care if we're on a couch in Dallas, Texas. Like, I just want to be around him all the time. And so that night we go to dinner and I remember just asking him, what are the things that you think are important as we like enter into this relationship? And he told me, if you give me respect and loyalty, I will give you the world. And I told him I can do that. And then I told him, there's a few things you should know. Number one, your money is great, but it's the cherry on top of a great sundae. You could lose it all tomorrow and I would not go anywhere. Like, the money is just like this little added benefit, but I love you for you. I'm here for who you are as a person, not the money. Also, cheating is 100% a deal breaker for me. I just feel like I always need to like put that out there. I don't care if we've been married for 15 years with 4 kids, I will leave. I will not put up with cheating. And also, my family is my world. I'm a warrior for my family and friends. And please don't ever put me in a position where I have to choose because like I love my family so much, and that would be a situation that would cause me so much pain, and I just would never want to be in that position. He said, I understand completely, and I love that about you. So we set those ground rules, and the next day we go to Cannes. And I remember that first day in Cannes, we're having a great time. We went to the beach for a little bit, and then we decided we're gonna go shopping. And he tells me, you can pick out whatever you want to buy, you can get it. So we're going to like Cartier, we're going to Chanel, we go to Dior. I see this yellow bag I fall in love with, but I felt so uncomfortable because I don't want this man to think that I'm with him for his money. And I didn't want him to feel like I was using him. So I remember just being like, oh, it's okay. Like, I love this purse, but I was like, it's just okay. And we ended up going to Dolce & Gabbana, and I pick out this nice pair of $200 sunglasses. And he looks at me, he goes, dang, you're cheap. And I said, I'm a simple girl, even though I wanted the Dior bag. But I wanted him to know that I was there for the right reasons. Oh my gosh, bachelor trauma is still kicking in. And so later that night, we decided to go to dinner, and we're eating dinner, and I go to the bathroom, and I had myself a fall going to the bathroom, going up the stairs, and everything went black. And I will continue on the series in part 4.